The WNBA announced an expansion a couple of days ago with the addition of Cleveland, Detroit, and Philadelphia. This goes on top of the fact they already added Golden State, are adding Portland and Toronto. So the question now becomes who's going to play? If you think about it from a real logical perspective, you have a league right now, the WNBA, that is in need of talent. You have a league that doesn't have good enough players to keep people interested in the league overall. And that's a problem because if you add all these teams, you got to add probably 50, 60 players. So if you have to add 50, 60 players to your league, you now have players who got drafted, didn't even make a team, who are now going to be in the league, plus another 40 or so players who didn't get drafted, aren't drafted on a year-to-year basis. Obviously, once again, you're going to start off with an expansion draft and you're going to take players from current teams. So what does that do to those teams? That sucks away at their depth. So for an example, if you're looking at a team, let's say like the New York Liberty, they're going to have to leave some decent players available who are depth on their roster, who will now go to an expansion team and probably or potentially be starters. You're going to have players who basically what's going to happen is you're going to create a situation where you're going to have the haves and you're going to have the have-nots. The NBA has plenty of have-nots. The NBA has plenty of haves. And that's what happens when you have a 30-team league like the NBA. And it happened in the NBA. The talent pool got gutted. You can go look at the 80s. Look at the players that you had on the Celtics, the Lakers, the Sixers, all these great teams in the 80s. And then you have all these teams that have great players that couldn't go anywhere because other teams were just so great. There were a lot of really great teams in the 80s because there were fewer teams. Then you started adding teams, Miami, Toronto, Charlotte, Vancouver, Orlando, and so on and so on. So you start Minnesota, so you start adding these teams, and now you're taking away players. Same thing's going to happen here. The difference is there's a lot more players in men's basketball that are good than there are in women's basketball because more men play basketball than women. It's just the way it is. Let's talk about that. Welcome back, everyone, to another edition of Rudy's Rant, Her Game, Her Way, Women's Basketball. We talk facts over feelings. I'm your host, Rudy Rodriguez Showmont. Pound that like button. Subscribe to the channel, ring the bell, leave a comment. Let me know your thoughts on what we're talking about here. It's a situation, bluntly, where Sophie Cunningham has commented on it. Even Satu Sabali commented on it. They care about, these players want you to care about the current players in the league. That's what they want from their league. The problem that they have is that they don't actually speak their minds and really bash the idea of expansion of the league. They should be smashing down hard on expansion of the league because they don't have the skill players to make it better. More teams doesn't make your league better. It just gives you more teams. It doesn't at all. So when you're looking at a situation like this and you're saying, okay, so why are they doing this? Well, the owners are doing this for one reason: money. This is the one way the ownership can collect money and not have to share that money with the players. And the players, in my opinion, are, I don't want to say too slow, but the ones that are involved in these negotiations are too slow to understand that you're not collecting one extra dollar from the sale and the franchise fees for new WNBA teams. I believe Golden State was $250 million for their franchise fee. I want to confirm that. Franchise fee, Golden State. Okay, I'm sorry, it was $50 million for Golden State. They got the steal. Now it's jumped. I believe it jumped up. It's going to be in the range of $500 million. Franchise fee for Toronto. So these franchise fees are jumping up. They're jumping up. And what these teams are doing is they're going to okay, so Detroit's paid 250 for an expansion fee. So the new teams are being hit harder than these the ones that just came in that just got their organizations. But the new teams that are coming in are going to get hit over the head. What does that mean? That means that these owners are going to split $1 billion or more. They're going to split $1 billion or more amongst themselves. And they're sitting here saying, hey, we've taken hits for so long. We've lost money for so long. And this is the one opportunity for us to get our money back. Make us at least kind of whole or maybe give us some profit. So now we have these franchise fees. Players can't get $1 of those franchise fees. And the players are sitting here saying, your offer was insulting to us. Well, I don't know what the offer was. And I don't know that the players will ever tell you how much they're proposing. So they're insulted. Well, I don't know what they're insulted about. They should be, I would think the ownership should be insulted that you're asking them for dollars when you're not producing revenue, you're not producing profit. Women want to be treated like men. I get it. Yeah, produce what the men produce, and then you'll get treated like men. You want to be treated like the NBA, produce what the NBA produces, and then we can talk about it. You think the NBA, I don't know what the NBA players were getting in terms of revenue sharing back in 1972, because that would be the equivalent pretty much of what's going on right now. Just in a basic search and reviewing this, there was no money in revenue share. There was just reading this. I mean, they didn't have a complex revenue sharing system in place. There were certain agreements. They had free agency. They had the first right of refusal after 1980, rights, ending option clauses. I mean, there's nothing here that shows what what the revenue if there was even revenue share. They may not even have been revenue share. The league generated $16 million in 1974, 20 million in 1975, 24 in 76, 40 million in 1979. Think about that. $40 million is what the league generated in revenue in 1979. Players are making $65 million a year right now. Like they're on this, the social media world has created a mindset that we ignore the truth, and we want to have what we want when we want how we want it. The expansion of the league is going to be a disaster because it's not going to it'll bring more people to those direct areas for a period of time. But if you're not good, you're not winning, you're not doing anything, how long are people going to sit there and watch? I do my best to watch as much women's basketball as possible, and many times I find the game to be not very good. I mean, I'm being real. There are days where I find the Indiana games to not be very good. Without Caitlin Clark, they're not a lot of fun to watch. I'll be real. Yeah, people can criticize that all day long. It's just the truth. I used to watch the NFL religiously. I don't watch the NFL anymore because the game's not very good. So don't misconstrue what I'm saying as being sexist or misogynist or whatever the hell you want to call it, because I'm not. Because I used to be a diehard NFL fan. Watching NFL right now is horrible. I'd rather not watch it. In fact, I don't watch it a lot of times. I'm not one of those guys that sits in front of, even though I got 3 TVs behind me, who sits in front of the TV watching NFL football every Sunday. Thursday, Friday, whatever. Thursday, Sunday, Monday. I don't do that. I'll watch the Dolphins. That's it. I don't sit here watching Sunday Night Football. I don't care about it. Games aren't very good. The product has gone down. NBA product has gone down. It's not very good. It's not a good product. Yeah, I watched the finals. Was I closely watching the rest of the playoffs? Not really. Not really. Missed plenty of games. And I would say the talent level in the NBA is far better than the talent level in the WNBA. So when you look at these different these dynamics, understand that right now the product that the WNBA produces is still not very good. In fact, it's bad at times. There are way too many 26, 28, 30, 32% shooting performances on a nightly basis in the WNBA. On a nightly basis. Low, bad shooting percentages with a smaller ball with a bigger rim. I mean, it's how many NBA games do you see teams shoot 26% from the field in? That was last night, the Las Vegas Aces, 26% from the field. How often do you see that in the NBA? Can you imagine seeing a team score 54 points in the NBA right now? What's the equivalent of 54 to a 48-minute game? Let's take a look. Um, it would be literally the equivalent of them having scored 65 points. Can you imagine an NBA team scoring 65 points in a game right now? 65? I'm talking, you got to go back to, I think it was the finals in like 1998 when you saw a team get held to such a low scoring total. Even in the 90s, scoring 65 points in a game would be an utter embarrassment. It happened because they were playing football out there, but 65 points, that would be pretty damn bad. Pretty damn bad. But this is not out of the ordinary to see teams in the WNBA shoot so poorly, and you want to add players who can't play? You want to add teams? Yeah, I get why the owners want to do it. What I don't get is why the players aren't fighting tooth and nail against it. I don't know why this isn't part of their CBA discussion. Like, no, you cannot expand. Like, you cannot keep expanding. You're taking money away from us every time you expand. As you add teams, you're dividing the pot of the TV money that you got. So now each team gets less money. Yes, they have the option for a renewal or some review of the contract in a few years. I think it's around 2030 or something like that, 2028, 29, 30, whatever it is, whatever year it was. They do have that option from what I've read. But what is that option doing when the large portion of your viewership is for one team, one player? I'm not saying this to be just to be mean. I'm saying this to be real. What does that do when a large portion of what you do is based on one player? You wanted to expand because of one player, because of the attention that one player brought. Caitlin Clark, we all know what it is. You struck when the iron was hot. But you don't have the players to substantiate, to make this good. You don't have players to make this good. You don't have players to make this work. You don't even have enough players right now in your league for the teams that you got. You got 13 teams, and you got the Indiana Fever walking around last night with a 9-player roster because you don't have 15-man rosters. Let's go give hardship contracts. And then, we take the hardship player away. Like, the fact that Ari McDonald had to be cut because of their rules, because they added 2 players back to have a 10-man roster is crazy to me. They should have the option to sign her and keep her for the season, not have to cut her after the player comes back. If you have the space in the cap, you should have the option to keep that player. If you want to. If you don't, that's different. But if you want to, you should have that option to keep that player. It doesn't make sense. It's illogical. But these are the rules of the WNBA that are completely illogical. They don't make their rule set is weird. Their structure is weird. Their financial situation is awful. No other league is supported by another league the way the WNBA is supported and funded by the NBA. So here they go get a whole bunch of money from a TV deal. Now they're splitting it. Now there's arguments about the new CBA, but you're adding players. You're going to add players. You're adding teams. That's going to make them. Think about it right now. 220. What is it? 220 million per year. They're going to get at 12 teams. 220 million per year divided by 12. That's 18.33 million. Let's do that same division now by 13. You just dropped it to 16.9. Let's do that by 14. It's down to 15.7. Let's do that by 15. Now it's down to 14.6. Let's do it by 16. Now we're down to 13.75. The money just keeps going further and further down. By 17, 12.9. And finally, divided by 18, you're down to $12.2 million divided by the teams. You got 12-player rosters. They want raises. I got it. I understand it. They want to see their max dollars go up. I get it. They should want that. But how are you paying for it? Because you keep sucking money out of your team, and now what you're going to have happen is that money is now no longer divided. It's divided by a team. It's for each team, but they have other expenses and bills to pay. That money's not just a salary, paying salaries. They got other bills to pay. And now you want to add another, let's see, you got 6 times 12. That's 72 players. And that's with Golden State. So now you're going to still got to add another 60. The real fight should be 15-man rosters. You're getting chartered flights. You're getting nicer hotels. You're getting all these different things and amenities. Teams are building better facilities, thankfully. They should be. How they're paying for it, who the hell knows? But again, ownership is striking when it's hot. They're taking advantage of the situation and looking at the players and saying, and what? And the players are sitting there offended by the offers. Offended, always offended. This is a league of offense, always being offended. Always being offended. And you think let's look at the situation as it is. They had 12 teams with 12 players. That was 144, right? They should have had 15 players per team. So if you have 12 times 15, you're at 180. What happens now if you're at 18 times 15? That's 270. So they will need to add 126 players to this league over the next 5 years if they were to expand to 15-man rosters and have 6 more teams. And the product already isn't very good. And the fans have already told you, we only watch one team largely. The attendance is going up in certain cities. In certain cities, it's going up. But when it comes to television revenue and television ratings, the ratings right now this year are virtually the same as they were last year, with the one exception being the Caitlin Clark games. Any game that she doesn't play in, 350,000, 300,000, lower than that. Lower than that. Go look at what those teams do dealing with NBA TV and when their games are on there. No one's watching that shit. This is going to be a disaster. The owners are striking while it's hot, but I don't think it's for the good of their own league. I think the ownership is making a mistake. I think they're making a mistake in terms of quality over money. They want money over quality. I guess that's normal in this world. I guess that's what we've become in this world. They want money over quality. And the players, while they're so quiet, should be out on microphones right now saying, why the fuck are we expanding our league? I'm against expanding our league. I don't care about the college player that's making NIL money and walking in with having made $2 million before they step foot in the WNBA. They're making more money than I am right now. I'm a professional. They're in college and they're making $2 million to play college basketball. I would have a problem with that. And I would understand it if they had a problem with that and they were voicing that. But they're not doing that. They're not voicing the issues that exist. That's the biggest issue. Why do I give a shit about expansion? These women are making hand over fist in college. They're making bread. Most of these players in college women's basketball are going to walk at high level Division I basketball are going to walk out of college as millionaires. And the player in the WNBA is making $80,000 a year, $90,000 a year. Why do I care about them? That's not my job to care about them. It's my job to worry about myself, my family, and my future. They all want to be so nice about it. And then people want to get mad at Sophie Cunningham for saying Detroit. Nobody wants to live in Detroit. Nobody wants to live in Cleveland. No offense to those that live in Cleveland and Detroit. You don't want to live in Detroit and Cleveland. If you had an option. If you had an option. Most people with an option would not want to live where they live in this country. Most people with an option do not want to live in frigid temperatures after the month of freaking September. With an option. Not everyone has the option. There's a reason people travel to southern states because they want to get away from cold weather. There's a reason people from New York City move down to freaking South Florida. Given the option, they're like, nah, I can't. I don't want to live here. And I think New York City is a great city. I love New York City. But it's a hard place to live. It ain't fun paying $4,000 a month for a closet. Not easy. So anyhow, those are my thoughts. I think this is a massive mistake by the ownership. I know why they're doing it, but I think it's going to dilute their league so badly. And they've made this choice. They've made this choice to dilute their league. And I think they've made a massive mistake. The talent level is going to go way down. It's already not great as it is. It's going to go into the toilet. And we'll see what happens. Will there be the initial rush for each city? More than likely, yeah, sure. Golden State is an anomaly. Golden State is a city that's been built on the Warriors, and they've become a basketball a basketball mecca type of situation. They love it. But and again, they were blessed with 9-7 in their first 16, which is amazing. Congratulations to them. Most expansion teams are not 9-7 after 16 games in their first 16. They're more like 2-14. So you might sell out tickets. You might. I'm not sure that you will. I don't think Detroit sells out their building, even close to it. I don't think Cleveland sells out their building even. I don't think Philly sells out their building. I think you need the right situation, the right city. I don't think those are the best cities to do this in, to be honest. Don't think they're the best cities. And it's not about, it's just, it doesn't, I don't think it's, I think they're overplaying their hands in terms of where. The current ownership, give me my money. I want my money. I'll take my money. And the players are sitting there saying, we're offended. We're offended. Okay. Because you should be offended that the fact the owners are going to about to make hand over fist and y'all deal is still going to be shit. But you also have to be real because you're not telling us what you're asking for. If you're asking for 50% of revenue share, you get the double middle finger because you're not producing profit. Don't ask for half of revenue share when you're not producing $1 in profit. Anyhow, those are my thoughts. Y'all let me know what y'all think in the comments. I appreciate y'all continuing supporting the channel. Like the video, subscribe to the channel, ring the bell. As always, this is Rudy's Rant. Her game, her way wins basketball. Come on now.